Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's webinar by Street Experts powered by Master Trust. I am Akanksha Shukla, your host and moderator for today's session. We are delighted to have you all join us for an insightful discussion on GIFT City, India's international financial hub and a rising asset class opportunity. In today's session, we will explore what makes GIFT City IFSC such a game changer, the opportunities it creates for investors and businesses, and why it's becoming the bridge between India and global financial markets. We are truly honored to have with us Mr. Sudhir S., Principal Officer and Head, GIFT IFSC Investments, Aditya Birla AMC. A seasoned professional with over 23 years of proven track record in the field of sales and distribution of mutual funds, advising corporate treasuries, family offices, and trusts. He joined Birla AMC in March 2007 and since then has successfully led sales teams in both retail and institutional sales functions. Prior to assuming the role of principal officer, he served as zonal head South Institutional Sales. With his vast expertise and experience, he is uniquely positioned to guide us through today's session. So, without further delay, let's dive into this exciting conversation and understand how GIFT City is shaping the future of finance in India and beyond. A humble request for everyone to engage in the webinar, ask questions, which will be taken by the end of the webinar. A warm welcome and over to you, Mr. Sudhir.
Thank you, Akanksha, and good evening to you all. And before I start, I would like to extend a heartiest congratulations to Master Capital Trust for celebrating this 40th year anniversary in this 2025. So congratulations to each and one of you who have been part of that Master Capital Trust and in their business journey for the last 40 years in assisting and helping investors to create wealth. So in this journey, we also appreciate and happy to be part of this event today, the Street Experts, in sharing my understanding about GIFT IFSC and how it is benefiting investors both in India and as well as globally. So I'll just share a small presentation. So to give an introduction about GIFT IFSC to all the investors. I think we have all been regularly hear or read about GIFT City, GIFT, and I think GIFT is standing as an acronym for all those our international offering today. There is quite a good amount of excitement about the GIFT City, and people wants to know about this. So to just give a brief introduction about GIFT City is that first and foremost thing is that GIFT, the acronym stands for Gujarat International Finance Tech City. So GIFT is Gujarat International Finance Tech. It's a vision child of our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, who wants to build this place which can house a finance and as well as technology companies to provide a global services or global world-class services to both India and as well as global companies. So there is a small story behind that, but I think because understanding that is very important to see that how's this all GIFT has started off. So this is the time, I think maybe something like in 2007, 2008, when Mr. Modi has visited Singapore, and he was now zapped with the kind of a small tiny country like Singapore, how it has transformed itself into a global financial hub. Then we looked at as in India, we are such a vast country, availing global services, doing lots of our cross-border transactions outside of India, because we as a capital receiver and requiring continuous capital for our development, we have been reaching out to our global investors worldwide to get those services. So and hence the first thing was to look at how can we create a Singapore kind of an global financial hub within India itself. So and that is when this entire thought process of GIFT City has started off. GIFT City it's not just exactly GIFT City, but yes, bringing that all the financial transactions, particularly India related cross-border financial transactions, so which was happening outside of India, how do we bring it back into India? So that's like called onshoring the offshore. That means the transactions which are happening offshore, bring it to the onshore. So that is what the concept which is kick-started. And around the same time in 2008, GIFT City has been announced or declared by the government of Gujarat as a smart city project. So, every state has been keeps coming out with some announcement that they would want to create one place in their state as a satellite township or a smart city. So in that, I think GIFT City is also one among them, has been announced to be creating as a smart city. But yes, so we have many first for the India. This one GIFT City is that it is India's first operational smart city. So we have seen many states announcing this smart city projects, but however, there's nothing has completely become operational other than GIFT City. So the first and foremost is GIFT City is a smart city which lies in between Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar. So we always look Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar as a twin city, but now I think with introduction of our GIFT City, or with the operationalizing that GIFT City, now it has become a tri-city, which is well networked with both road and metro connectivities. The second point is that within a part of GIFT City there are two areas. So GIFT City is overall is about 1,000, close to 1,000 acres. Out of that, about 700 odd acres has been treated as a domestic area. So that's a domestic area which includes residential projects, commercial projects, college, schools, hotels, and many of these interlinked service providers. So where it is like walk to work kind of a concept, you just stay nearby and also go work in the same area. It's just walk maybe, and with a world class infrastructure. So there is about another 200 acres of land has been notified as an SEZ. So again, it's the first in India where a SEZ houses has been developed for to promote financial services. Historically, we have seen SEZs have been promoted to support manufacturing organizations, but for the first time in India to house international, to provide this support to develop and to bring back these offshore businesses back to India, we have to provide some amount of support. And within India, we didn't had any of those concept to support financial services. Hence, the SEZ Act itself has been modified in the year 2014, and this 200 acres of area in GIFT City has been notified as an SEZ, which houses International Financial Service Center. So that means along with GIFT City, which has been India's first operational smart city, it is also India's first SEZ which houses financial services. Then again, it is the India's only operational International Financial Service Center. So we have many firsts for GIFT City here. And hence, since that International Financial Service Center has been started off, now in 2016-17, we had this IFSC has been regulated by Indian financial regulators. As we all know, we have multiple financial regulators in India. That's RBI regulates banking and NBFCs. We have SEBI regulating capital markets. Then IRDA regulating insurance, and PFRDA regulating pension companies. So all this it was difficult to focus on development of IFSC as a regulator as a within one-stop approval kind of a thing. And hence in 2019, an IFSCA Act was passed in the Parliament. So and we have set up an International Financial Service Center Authority as a unified regulator to develop and as well as monitor and regulate the entities here in GIFT IFSC. So in 2019, it has been started, and since then, the powers of RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and PFRD has been handed over to IFSCA, and they develop and regulate IFSCs IFSC in India. So to answer few questions, yes, like the way the SEBI Act has been passed and SEBI was set up, IFSC has also been passed and set up. So in terms of credibility, validity, and the things, so IFSCA stands as credible, valid, as similar to that of SEBI or RBI, which regulates banking system or capital market systems in mainland India. So it has been with government support. So it's got all the sovereign support. which made the necessary changes and the SEZ Act to set up an IFSC in SEZ, which has made that all the changes in the provisions like income tax and various other acts to provide to bring back all those offshore entities into India. And so it is in such a way that this this IFSC, any entities which are set up in IFSC is something like you have set up in an offshore, that you are like an outside of India, but you are within India. That means in entire India, we all know that we all can transact only in INR. We cannot transact in foreign currency. But only within this IFSC, that entire transactions happens other than rupees. It can be either euro, or it can be US dollar, or it can be Singapore dollar, but it is other than IFSC. That means your currency is fully convertible here. Transactions are fully in foreign currencies. And it is like for all the FEMA related regulations, this the business happens here is treated as an offshore business. But from an income tax or from other perspectives, we are all part of India and we are in India. They have ensured this, whatever the required regulatory supports across all regulations in India has been made. So पूरा ये offshore ही है. From FEMA perspective से offshore company और offshore entity दिखा जाता है, लेकिन from the income tax के हिसाब से ये Indian entity माना जाता है. तो इधर भी जैसे हमने इधर दिखाया, so इधर एक unified regulator है जो सेबी, RBI, IRDA, PFRDA का powers का यूज करके जो इधर जो entities है उसको regulate करता है. क्या benefits है इधर गिफ्ट IFSC में? Why some people from जो सिंगापुर में ऑलरेडी बिजनेस सेटअप किया गया है, या मॉरिशस में, आयरलैंड में, या लग्जमबर्ग में, या केमन आइलैंड में जो बिजनेस सेटअप किया गया है ऑलरेडी, जो बिजनेस कर रहा है, उन लोगों को इधर वापस क्यों आना चाहिए? सो ये क्वेश्चन के लिए ये स्लाइड में हमको आंसर मिलता है. जो IFSC सेटअप किया ना, वही टाइम पे पूरा का पूरा जो IFSC ने जो रेगुलेशन ऐसा बनाया कि ये DIFC आपने सुना अगर, दुबई इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंशियल सेंटर, सिंगापुर जो अगेन एक ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल सर्विस सेंटर है, उधर जो कैपिटल मार्केट या फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज रिलेटेड जो रेगुलेशंस जो है, जो वो एक कंट्री दूसरे कंट्री के जैसे कैसे ये ट्रांजैक्शन कर सकता है, वो उसी रेगुलेशंस को बेंचमार्क करते हुए इधर गिफ्ट सिटी का रेगुलेशन भी बनाया हुआ है. जो इधर आएगा उसको जो सिंगापुर में जो बिजनेस करने में जो बेनिफिट मिलता था, तो इधर भी वही जो बेनिफिट मिलेगा. तो सेम थिंग जो इंडियन कंपनीज जाके मॉरिशस में या केमन आइलैंड में फंड सेटअप करके US या यूरोप इन्वेस्टर से जो पैसा लेके आके इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करते थे, वो सब जो बेनिफिट और सेम बेनिफिट उसको इधर भी है. जो उधर का जो बेनिफिट था वही बेनिफिट, अब उसे बेहतर बेनिफिट लेके जो कंपनीज गिफ्ट सिटी में फंड बना के US और यूरोप से फंड रेज करके इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है. तो वन इज दैट जो कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स बेनिफिट है, टैक्स हॉलीडेज है, 100% टैक्स एग्जम्पशन दिया गया है फॉर 10 लॉन्ग ईयर्स आउट ऑफ एनी 15 ईयर्स में 10 लॉन्ग ईयर्स that any fund management companies or any of those entities which set up business here can get a tax holidays here. So second है इधर GST लगता नहीं है, 0% GST है, जो because जो सर्विस हम लेते हैं या हम देते हैं उसी के लिए हम GST लेते भी नहीं है और देते भी नहीं है, तो उसके हिसाब से 0 GST है. एंड इधर जो कॉस्ट ऑफ सेटिंग अप द बिजनेस है इन गिफ्ट सिटी वो दूसरे जगह से बहुत कम है, तो इसके हिसाब से लोग इधर आके फंड सेटअप करने में उसका कॉस्ट भी, मैनेजमेंट भी इजी हो जाएगा. इधर ज्यादा टैलेंट पूल भी है जो उसको फंड मैनेज करने के लिए जो है वो सब इधर भी अवेलेबल भी है. सेकेंड नो, एंड जो आयरलैंड में या केमन में, मॉरिशस में जो फंड सेटअप करते हैं उसके लिए कुछ बेनिफिट्स मिलता है. लाइक उसका जो म्यूचुअल फंड का इन्वेस्टमेंट म्यूचुअल फंड बनाते हैं ना, उधर हमारा सेबी ने कुछ रिस्ट्रिक्शंस डाला हुआ है. एक स्टॉक में 10% से ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता, एक सेक्टर में 15-25% से ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता, ऐसा. सो ऐसा कंसंट्रेशन नॉर्म्स है जो ऐसा फंड मैनेजमेंट वो रेगुलेशंस इधर अप्लीकेबल नहीं है. हम जो इधर फंड बनाते हैं लिवरेज भी कर सकते हैं, दैट मीन्स सो दैट द इन्वेस्टर को जो मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ रिटर्न्स जो मिल सकता है वो अपॉर्चुनिटी है. कॉम्प्लेक्स ट्रेडिंग स्ट्रेटेजीज भी बना सकते हैं. एंड जो इधर भी गिफ्ट सिटी के अंदर भी हमारा 2 स्टॉक एक्सचेंज है, एक NSE है, एक BSE है, दोनों का उसका सब्सिडरीज के नाम पे इधर बिजनेस सेटअप किया गया है. वो जो स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में जो हम जो भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स बाय एंड सेल करते हैं, जो कैपिटल गेन्स उधर आते हैं उसमें जीरो कैपिटल गेन टैक्स है। जो दैट मीन्स आप और मैं अभी जो डेरिवेटिव्स में ट्रेड करते हैं इन इंडिया में, हमको वो बिजनेस इनकम माना जाता है, बिजनेस टैक्स पे करना पड़ता है, अदरवाइज भी हमको शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल टैक्स अप्लीकेबल है। लेकिन ए गिफ्ट के एक्सचेंज में जो भी हम स्टॉक्स ट्रेड डेरिवेटिव्स में ट्रेड करते हैं, वो गेन पूरा टैक्स फ्री होगा। सो ऐसा इधर भी, उसके अलावा इधर सिक्योरिटीज ट्रांसैक्शन टैक्स या कमोडिटीज ट्रांसैक्शन टैक्स भी लगता नहीं है। तो ये विद ऑल दिस बेनिफिट्स अभी तक 800 से ऊपर कंपनीज इधर ऑलरेडी सेटअप किया गया है। कौन सा कंपनीज जो सेटअप किया इधर बिजनेस शुरू किया है उसको टू लिस्ट करना है तो नंबर 1 बैंक्स, जो भी हमारा पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स है, प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक्स है, एमएनसी बैंक्स है, सब इधर इंटरनेशनल बैंकिंग यूनिट्स ओपन किया गया है। सो दैट मीन्स जो भी जो इन्वेस्टर है वो फॉरेन करेंसी में लोन लेना था, अभी इंडियन जाके फॉरेन करेंसी में लोन लेना था या एनसीडी इश्यू करके फंड्स रेज करना था, वो पहले सिंगापुर या यूएस जाके करता था। अभी उधर जाने का जरूरत ही नहीं है, इधर ही इंडिया में गिफ्ट सिटी में वो डॉलर में एनसीडीज इश्यू कर सकते हैं, एनसीडीज इश्यू करके डॉलर में फंड रेज कर सकता है। सो दैट इज अ बेनिफिट। देन हमारा स्टॉक एक्सचेंजेस है, दैट इज एनएससी और बीएससी का 2 स्टॉक एक्सचेंज है, कमोडिटी एक्सचेंज है, बुलियंस एक्सचेंज है। जो हमारे ज्वेलर्स है वो बाहर बैंक से एंड और बाहर से जो गोल्ड खरीदते थे, अभी इधर एक्सचेंज के द्वारा बहुत कम दाम में और भी मच फास्टर टाइम में गोल्ड बाई कर सकता है। नॉट ओनली दैट, गोल्ड बाइंग भी, गोल्ड ट्रेडिंग भी कर सकता है उधर जो गोल्ड डिपॉजिटरी रिजर्व्स के रिसिप्ट्स के द्वारा। तो उसके अदर देन दैट हमारा इधर फंड मैनेजमेंट बिजनेस इज वन अमंग द लार्ज अपॉर्चुनिटीज। अभी तक almost 130-140 fund managers have registered their office here as a fund managers, and they have launched more than 200 funds as of now, managing about $15 billion of money. Other than that, we have many other ancillary service providers are there, global capability centers, global tech, treasury centers, ship leasing companies, aircraft leasing companies. पहले जो इंडियन कंपनीज जो एयरक्राफ्ट बाई करते थे, एयरक्राफ्ट लीज करते थे, वो सब ट्रांसैक्शंस इंडिया में नहीं होता था, वो पहले लग्जमबर्ग या आयरलैंड में वो एग्जीक्यूट करते थे। अभी इंडिगो ने इधर ऑलरेडी जो एयरक्राफ्ट बाई कर रहे हैं वो गिफ्ट सिटी के रूट में डाइवर्ट ट्रांसैक्शंस एग्जीक्यूट करके ऑलरेडी ऑपरेशनल है। तो जैसा शिप लीजिंग कंपनीज है, जो इंडियन का भी काफी कंपनीज जो शिप को लीज करता है, वो सब लीजिंग एक्टिविटीज इंडिया से बाहर हुआ करता था, अभी पूरा इधर है। जो जैसा मैंने शुरू में बोला था, ऑनशोरिंग द ऑफशोर, जो इंडिया से बाहर हुआ करता था वो सब इंडिया के अंदर ही होगा। अभी इंडिया में और एक फर्स्ट होगा, एक इंडियन कंपनी फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम गिफ्ट सिटी में स्टॉक्स लिस्ट भी कर रहा है। अभी तक ओनली बॉन्ड्स इश्यू करते थे, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम आई थिंक अगले महीने में सितंबर में एक गिफ्ट सिटी में एक इंडियन कंपनी शेयर लिस्ट करके फंड्स ये फॉरेन करेंसी में रेज कर रहा है। सो हमने अभी तक हमारे इंडिया में एनएससी और बीएससी में लिस्ट करके फंड्स रेज करना देखा है। जो भी इंडियन कंपनीज कहीं बाहर के एक्सचेंज में लिस्ट नहीं हुआ है, हमारा 2-3 सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज लाइक टीसीएस, इन्फोसिस जो बाहर लिस्ट किया है, बट वो सब लिस्ट किया है एज एन एडीआर्स एंड जीडीआर्स, अमेरिकन डिपॉजिट रिसिप्ट्स और ग्लोबल डिपॉजिट रिसिप्ट्स की तरफ द्वारा वो उधर रिसीव किया है। बट अदर देन दैट ओनली एक एक्सचेंज में, वो बाहर का एक्सचेंज में वो लिस्ट करके फंड्स रेज नहीं किया है, लेकिन अभी वो भी हमने देखने वाला है। अभी फर्स्ट टाइम जो इंडियन कंपनी इज लिस्टिंग इन गेटिंग लिस्टेड इन गिफ्ट स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में। सो वी विल कम टू दैट द फंड मैनेजमेंट रेगुलेशंस मेनली। अभी फंड मैनेजमेंट रेगुलेशंस में मैंने बोला 130 और फंड मैनेजर्स इधर लिस्ट किया, आईएफएससी में रजिस्टर किया हुआ है एंड हैव सेट अप देयर कंपनी हियर और बिजनेस हियर। उसमें 3 तरफ का लाइसेंस ले सकता है, वो कॉल्ड ऑथराइज्ड एफएमई, रजिस्टर्ड एफएमई नॉन रिटेल, रजिस्टर्ड एफएमई रिटेल। हम काफी डिफरेंट टाइप्स का फंड्स इधर से लॉन्च कर सकते हैं। सो एक वेंचर कैपिटल फंड्स से लेके प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड, डेट फंड, प्राइवेट कॉर्पोरेट डेट फंड और स्ट्रक्चर्ड डेट फंड, रियल एस्टेट डेट फंड से लेके कैटेगरी वो प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड, हमारा जो इंडिया में कैटेगरी 3 लिस्टेड इक्विटीज होता है ना, वो लिस्टेड इक्विटीज में डालने वाला वैसे कैटेगरी 3 फंड्स कर सकता है। एंड रिटेल स्कीम्स more like our mutual fund schemes. So हम anything across जो भी हम इंडिया में जो भी फंड्स बना रहा है और जो भी फंड रेज करने के लिए जो भी मल्टीपल टाइप्स ऑफ फंड्स यूज कर रहा है, वो सब टाइप ऑफ फंड हम गिफ्ट सिटी में भी कर सकते हैं. तो अभी अर्ली टाइम से थोड़ा थोड़ा कुछ स्ट्रक्चर्स ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो चुके हैं, कुछ स्ट्रक्चर्स स्टार्ट होने वाला है. अभी तक तो प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड्स ऑलरेडी ये हमारा एएफ स्ट्रेटजी में कैटेगरी 2 कैटेगरी 3 फंड्स तो बहुत है, which in the category 2 funds में we have lots of funds which invest into India debt fund, corporate bonds में invest करता है, और रियल एस्टेट डेट में इन्वेस्ट करने वाला कंपनी शुरू हो चुका है. कैटेगरी 3 में हर तरफ का फंड है, फंड ऑफ फंड्स इनटू फीडर फंड्स भी है जो एएफ में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं या म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, दोनों तरफ का स्कीम भी शुरू हो चुका है. सो गिफ्ट सिटी में जो क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है इन्वेस्टर्स को, क्या 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 कर सकते हैं, कहाँ इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. सो इधर क्या दो तरफ का इन्वेस्टर्स को हम सर्विस कर सकते हैं. एक इंडियन इन्वेस्टर है. जब मैं इंडियन इन्वेस्टर बोलता हूँ, जो नॉट जस्ट एज एन यू एंड मी लाइक एन इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर्स, बट इवन द कॉर्पोरेट्स इंडिया में जो लिस्ट हुआ या जो इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ कॉर्पोरेट्स भी ये गिफ्ट सिटी के थ्रू ग्लोबल मार्केट्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है. सो ग्लोबल मार्केट्स में वो बॉन्ड्स खरीद सकता है या इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है, जो भी फंड्स है ईटीएफ्स में, जहां भी चाहो जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलता है बाहर वो सब में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है. जो फॉरेनर्स है, जो फॉरेनर्स मतलब हमारा नॉन रेजिडेंट इंडियंस है, दैट्स एनआरआईज, और जो फॉरेन इनकॉर्पोरेटेड कंपनीज, दैट मीन्स जो भी कंपनीज इंडिया से बाहर इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ है वो कंपनीज है. एंड थर्ड इज दैट फॉरेन नेशनल्स और फॉरेन सिटीजन्स, जो इंडियंस नहीं है, जो लोकलाइट से जो बाहर का है, वो लोग, एनी ऑफ दिस थ्री पीपल कैन इन्वेस्ट इनटू इंडियन मार्केट्स थ्रू दिस गिफ्ट सिटी रूट. सो जो वो बॉन्ड्स में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है, इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकता है, म्यूचुअल फंड में कर सकता है. तो काफी उसके पास बहुत सारे अपॉर्चुनिटीज इधर है. जो हम जो आप और मैं जो इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं इंडिया में, वो सब इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स में एनआरआईज भी बिना कुछ एक्स्ट्रा रजिस्ट्रेशन, बिना कुछ एक्स्ट्रा रिस्ट्रिक्शंस के साथ इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. तो हम बिरला सन लाइफ, आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी भी इधर ऑफिस शुरू किया है. हमने 2022 में ही हमने इधर ऑफिस खोला. वी आर द फर्स्ट एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी टू सेट अप ऑफिस हियर. एंड तब से हम इधर फंड मैनेजमेंट और बिजनेस भी शुरू किया है. एंड वी आर ऑफरिंग डिफरेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज हियर फॉर बोथ इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स एज वेल एज ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स. जो हमने इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स और थोड़ा एनआरआईज को भी मिला के हमने ये ग्लोबल फंड में, ग्लोबल मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करने का एक अपॉर्चुनिटी बना है. पहले हमने फंड शुरू किया था एबीएसएल ग्लोबल इमर्जिंग मार्केट इक्विटी फंड. सो सिर्फ इमर्जिंग मार्केट इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, लाइक ब्राजील हो, चाइना, इंडोनेशिया, ताइवान, थाईलैंड, इंडिया, ऐसा जैसा इमर्जिंग मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करने का एक फंड बनाया था. उसमें हमने $70 million फंड रेज करके अभी वी हैव क्लोज दिस फंड फॉर सब्सक्रिप्शन. हमें उसके बाद में हमने दूसरे फंड शुरू किया है. इट्स कॉल्ड एबीएसएल ग्लोबल ब्लू चिप इक्विटी फंड. ये जो ग्लोबली अबाउट 25 से 30 ग्लोबल ब्लू चिप ऑफ द ब्लू चिप काइंड ऑफ ग्लोबल कंपनीज में हम इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. सो इसमें जैसा है इंडियन, मैंने बोला इंडियन कंपनीज एंड इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स एंड थोड़ा एनआरआईज, all are foreign nationals, all the 4-5 type of investors, all investors can invest into global funds through gift city. दूसरा एक हमने फंड्स बनाया, सिर्फ ये इसमें एनआरआईज और फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है. सो इसमें ईएसजी एंगेजमेंट फंड है, वो डायरेक्ट स्टॉक्स में ईएसजी रिलेटेड कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करता है. सिर्फ हमने ये मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप कंपनीज जो ईएसजी थीम में काम करते हैं उसी में फंड्स इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए ये फंड बनाया है. सो दूसरा फंड है हमारे पास एबीएसएल इंडिया फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड. दिस हमारा जो म्यूचुअल फंड है, फ्लेक्सी कैप म्यूचुअल फंड है इंडिया में, उसी के लिए एक फीडर फंड बना है गिफ्ट सिटी में, जो इधर से वो जो इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट करता है वो उधर दैट फंड विल बी इन्वेस्ट इनटू म्यूचुअल फंड. ये वेरी सिंपल रूट में म्यूचुअल फंड में बिना टैक्स का प्रॉब्लम का, बिना कैप पैन नंबर के जो इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए एक रूट बनाया गया है. तो I think there are certain questions people are raising hands. Maybe last में एक ही बार सब questions answer करूँगा. Next few minutes I'll just talk about what is this inbound and outbound opportunity. क्या है इधर, क्या benefits है. तो first I'll explain about NRIs and foreign investors investing into India? Why they have to come to GIFT City? What is the benefit here? The first and foremost important thing is that जो NRIs है, सिर्फ ओनली NRIs अभी इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है ना? जो फॉरेन नेशनल है या फॉरेन कंपनीज है इंडिया में अभी डायरेक्टली इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि जो भी NRI और जो भी इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट करना है उसका पहला रिक्वायरमेंट है पैन कार्ड। जो NRIs के पास पैन कार्ड है वो अभी इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, कर सकता है, कर रहा है। ठीक है, उसके दूसरा रिक्वायरमेंट है NRE और NRO अकाउंट, क्योंकि इंडिया में सिर्फ रुपी में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है, फॉरेन करेंसी में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकता। इसलिए जो NRIs को NRE और NRO अकाउंट ओपन करके उसी के द्वारा इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ता है। जो उसका होम कंट्री में जो उसका डॉलर में या यूरो में या पाउंड्स में जो पैसा रहेगा उसमें डायरेक्टली इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाएगा। सो दैट इज अनदर प्रॉब्लम। सो फॉरेनर के पास तो वो फॉरेन अकाउंट ही रहेगा, इंडिया में अकाउंट नहीं रहेगा, तो वो लोग इसलिए वो गिफ्ट सिटी के रूट थ्रू इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं। बिकॉज गिफ्ट सिटी के रूट थ्रू NRE NRO अकाउंट का जरूरत नहीं है, वो डायरेक्टली हम फॉरेन कंट्री का बैंक अकाउंट से इन्वेस्टमेंट ले सकता है। थर्ड थिंग इज दैट जो NRI फॉरेन सिटीजन्स या फॉरेन कंपनीज है वो इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए सेबी में एक FPI का रजिस्ट्रेशन करना पड़ता है। वो FPI का रजिस्ट्रेशन या लाइसेंसिंग लेके कस्टडियन सब अपॉइंट करके ही इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है। वो बहुत लंबा प्रोसीजर्स और काफी कंप्लायंस रिक्वायरमेंट्स रहता है। सो बिना कुछ ऑल दोस रिक्वायरमेंट्स वो गिफ्ट इंडिया में सिंपल एज ए नॉर्मल इन्वेस्टर वो गिफ्ट सिटी के फंड्स के थ्रू इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है। सो हेंस हम बोल रहे थे आपको NRI के साथ साथ फॉरेन कंपनीज, फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स भी इधर इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं। तो इधर भी जो भी इन्वेस्ट करता है तो हमारा गिफ्ट सिटी फंड्स में वो रिपेट्रिएशन का कुछ भी रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है, कुछ भी लिमिट्स नहीं है। सो जितना भी अमाउंट्स वो लेके आगे इन्वेस्ट करेगा उतना अमाउंट पूरा का पूरा वो कभी भी वापस रिपेट्रिएशन कर सकता है और उसका खुद का कंट्री में को लेके जा सकता है। सो दिस इज द बेस्ट बेनिफिट्स व्हाट वी सी। जो भी हमारा NRIs को इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए जो भी तकलीफ हो रहा था, जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स खड़े करते होते थे NRIs को, फॉरेन नेशनल्स को इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए, वो सब के लिए जो गिफ्ट सिटी एक सोल्यूशन बन गया है। हम इधर से एक पहले वाला फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड बनाया है। हमारा वो जो इंडिया में जो फ्लेक्सी कैप है वो 25 साल से फंड है। वो मोर देन 25,000 करोड़ उसका असेट अंडर मैनेजमेंट है। वो फंड वो लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड जो वाला फंड है उसी को हम इधर एक फीडर फंड बनाया है गिफ्ट सिटी में। सो इसका जो बेनिफिट्स है, जो फ्लेक्सी कैप का बेनिफिट्स है, इधर जो सेम बेनिफिट्स इधर भी NRIs को और फॉरेन नेशनल्स को इधर मिलेगा। करेंटली आपको देख रहा होगा लार्ज कैप में हमारा 50% के आसपास एलोकेशन है, बाकी 50% हमारा मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप में है। So that means this funds will try to give you an better than a large cap or better than market returns. Historically आप देख लो जो 30 years का जो परफॉर्मेंस है, 25 years का परफॉर्मेंस है ABSL फ्लेक्सी कैप का, वो अबाउट 21% का परफॉर्मेंस है, 21% CAGR। सो जो इसका anyway it is in INR terms, not in dollar terms। जो डॉलर टर्म्स हम करेंगे so that will come down to 15-16% because historically we have seen about at least about 4 to 5% kind of an rupee depreciations against dollar from a long-term perspective. So here the fund, what we have done, the fund which we have set up in GIFT City is a category 3 open-ended fund। जैसे हमने पहले दिखाया था, जो हम इधर फंड्स बनाएंगे, दो तरफ का फंड बना सकते हैं। एक तो ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड जैसा फंड बना सकते हैं, वो कैटेगरी 2 या कैटेगरी 3 फंड होगा, और दूसरा रिटेल फंड होगा। रिटेल फंड अभी शुरू नहीं किया है, लेकिन हमने कैटेगरी 3 फंड बनाया है, कैटेगरी 3 फंड इन्वेस्टिंग इनटू म्यूचुअल फंड स्कीम। सो पूरा जो भी इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगा वो पूरा का पूरा इंडिया में म्यूचुअल फंड स्कीम में इन्वेस्ट करेगा। हमने इधर टारगेट इन्वेस्टर्स फॉर दिस और NRIs एंड फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स है। ये फंड denominated in dollars है, that means all the purchase and redemptions happens in US dollars only। ये ओपन एंडेड फंड है, सो एनी इन्वेस्टर कैन कम एंड रिस्ट्रिक्शन कुछ भी नहीं है, कभी भी चाहे उसका रिडेम्पशंस कर सकता है। However, there is an exit load of 1% up to 1 year। जो इन्वेस्टर अभी NRIs हो या कोई जो म्यूचुअल फंड में इंडिया में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, जब रिडेम्पशन करेगा उन लोगों को उधर विथहोल्डिंग टैक्स अप्लीकेबल होगा। दैट मीन्स इमीडिएटली जो टैक्स डिडक्ट होगा जो इन्वेस्टर्स देखना पड़ेगा उसको खुद का कंट्री के साथ इंडिया का डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस ट्रीटी है या नहीं। उसका डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस ट्रीटी है तो फिर वो आईटी रिटर्न्स फाइल करके ये आईटी डिपार्टमेंट्स में जो टैक्स डिडक्ट हुआ था उसको रिफंड लेने के लिए वेट करना पड़ेगा। जो डीटीए नहीं है तो फिर इधर का टैक्स इधर भी लग जाएगा, उसका होम कंट्री में भी टैक्स लगेगा। सो ये इधर जो गिफ्ट सिटी के थ्रू रोड थ्रू जो इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट करेगा इधर कुछ भी टैक्स नहीं लगेगा। जो म्यूचुअल फंड जब शेयर्स बेचते हैं तो उधर कुछ टैक्स नहीं लगेगा। जो हमारा गिफ्ट सिटी वाला फंड जो कैटेगरी 3 फंड है वो म्यूचुअल फंड यूनिट्स बाय एंड सेल करेगा, तब कुछ भी विथहोल्डिंग टैक्स या कुछ भी अप्लीकेबल नहीं है। एंड जो इन्वेस्टर सेल करेगा गिफ्ट सिटी फंड का यूनिट्स को, तब भी कुछ विथहोल्डिंग टैक्स और कुछ भी अप्लीकेबल नहीं है। इसलिए क्या है, इंडिया में कुछ टैक्स ही नहीं लगता है, उसको इंडिया में आईटी रिटर्न्स भी फाइल नहीं करना पड़ेगा एंड टैक्स रिफंड के लिए भी वेट नहीं करना पड़ेगा। एंड डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस ट्रीटी है या नहीं वो भी उसको देखने के लिए जरूरत नहीं है। जो सिर्फ उसको इन्वेस्ट करेगा, रिडम्पशन करेगा, वापस redemption proceeds को he can take it back to his home country, and if in his home country if his the income is taxable तो उधर उसको टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा। उधर उसका कंट्री में if it is exempted from tax then उसका पूरा का पूरा टैक्स भी exempt हो जाएगा। तो दिस इज अ सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर जो गिफ्ट सिटी से के थ्रू बनाया गया है एंड इट इज
And there will be also no TDS, Mr. Sudhir?
absolutely nothing, no TDS, no withholding tax, nothing is applicable here in Gift City on all these investments. So the second opportunity what is available is for investor to invest internationally. So पहले अभी हमारे पास अभी भी जो इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स को ग्लोबल मार्केट का इन्वेस्ट करने में के लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है। हमारे म्यूचुअल फंड्स में कुछ इंटरनेशनल इक्विटी फंड्स भी है, लेकिन उसमें ज्यादातर लोग इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पा रहे बिकॉज उधर का जो एक लिमिट था म्यूचुअल फंड्स को फॉरेन इंटरनेशनल इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्ट करने का एक लिमिट था $7 बिलियन फॉर एक्टिवली मैनेज फंड, $1 बिलियन फॉर ईटीएफ सॉरी इंडेक्स लिंक्ड फंड। वो पूरा लिमिट्स कंप्लीट हो चुका है। इसलिए जो कुछ फंड्स छोटा छोटा स्मॉल स्मॉल इन्वेस्टमेंट में अमाउंट में इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्सेप्ट कर रहा है, लाइक 2 लाख 5 लाख या कुछ ऐसा। अदरवाइज कुछ फंड्स में जो एक इन्वेस्टर एग्जिट करेगा, रिडेम्पशन करेगा, फिर दूसरा इन्वेस्टर एंटर कर सकता है। हेंस अभी कुछ इन्वेस्टर्स को रियली वो बाहर मार्केट में एक्सपोजर लेना है तो उसका उधर इंडिया के रूट में आईएनआर इन्वेस्ट करके कुछ ऑप्शन नहीं है, तो उसको गिफ्ट सिटी के रूट में विदाउट एनी लिमिट्स वो बाहर इन्वेस्ट करने का अपॉर्चुनिटी अभी भी है। So this is another opportunity which is available. So there are two different requirements are can be catered here. One is that जो डाइवर्सिफाई करना है इन्वेस्टर को, जो इंडिया में काफी 100% इसका इन्वेस्टमेंट इंडिया में ही है, तो जो भी ही वुड हैव डाइवर्सिफाइड बिटवीन इक्विटी, डेट, रियल एस्टेट, गोल्ड और जो भी एसेट एलोकेशन है, लॉन्ग और लार्ज कैप, स्मॉल कैप, मिड कैप, एवरीथिंग, बट स्टिल उसके पास एक रिस्क उसका पोर्टफोलियो में रहता है, दैट इज सिंगल कंट्री एक्सपोजर, सिंगल कंट्री रिस्क। तो ग्लोबल डाइवर्सिफिकेशन करते हुए बाय इन्वेस्टिंग इन ग्लोबल मार्केट्स वो डाइवर्सिफिक रिस्क भी कम कर सकता है। उसी के लिए उसको अभी दूसरा रिक्वायरमेंट है कि कुछ हमारा एचएनआईज और अल्ट्रा एचएनआईज को रुपये को फॉरेन डॉलर में या फॉरेन करेंसी में लेके जाके फॉरेन में एक कॉर्पस बनाना, उधर उसको एक्सपेंडिचर्स भी के लिए भी पैसा फंड्स का रिक्वायरमेंट होता है और इन्वेस्टमेंट करने के लिए भी रिक्वायरमेंट होता है। लेकिन हमारा जो आरबीआई ने जो हमारे इंडिविजुअल्स को बाहर ग्लोबल मार्केट को पैसा लेके जाने के लिए एक ही लिमिट अलो किया है अंडर लिबरलाइज्ड रेमिटेंस स्कीम, एलआरएस के लिमिट में, एलआरएस के स्कीम में एक लिमिट अवेलेबल है, दैट इज $250,000 पर पर्सन पर ईयर। ये लिमिट के अंदर जो भी पैसा हम लेके जा सकते हैं बाहर, उसी में पूरा का पूरा एक्सपेंडिचर्स भी मैनेज करना है और इन्वेस्टमेंट भी मैनेज करना है। इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए सेपरेट लिमिट, एक्सपेंडिचर के लिए सेपरेट लिमिट नहीं है। अभी हम एक साल में हमारा वो लिमिट यूज नहीं किया तो लिमिट लैप्स हो जाएगा, अगले साल के लिए सिर्फ वही $2.50 ही अवेलेबल रहेगा। हेंस जो भी जो जिसको भी ज्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट है बाहर, उसको बच्चों को बाहर पढ़ाना है या हॉलीडे पे जाना है या कुछ फ्यूचर मेडिकल रिक्वायरमेंट्स के लिए कुछ उधर कॉर्पस बनाना है, कुछ एसेट्स खरीदना है उसी के लिए कॉर्पस बनाना है, या डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए कॉर्पस बनाना है, उस सब के लिए है एक गिफ्ट सिटी रूट के थ्रू वो फंड्स को आईएनआर को डॉलर में कन्वर्ट करके बाहर जाके एक गिफ्ट सिटी के फंड्स थ्रू इन्वेस्ट कर सकता है। बिकॉज वो जो रुपी टू डॉलर कन्वर्ट करेगा वो बैंक में रख नहीं सकता. He can invest hold it in the money in banks only for 180 days, not more than that. उसके बाद में either he has to invest it in some other securities or instruments or spend it or bring it back to India. Hence, these instruments or these options, these funds will provide him an opportunity to accumulate funds and build dollar coffers. थर्ड तो हम सब समझते ही है कि ग्लोबल ग्रोथ में लास्ट कपल ऑफ डेकेड्स 2 decades 3 decades में हम जो ग्लोबल ग्रोथ देख रहे हैं उसमें काफी ग्रोथ आ रहे हैं टेक्नोलॉजी इंडस्ट्रीज में. जो भी हम पहले कंप्यूटर्स में देखा, मोबाइल में देखा, डेटा अभी देख रहे हो सब जगह पे चल रहा है. इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स सब इंटरनेट के हिसाब से चलता है, वो 5G और सब में. उसी सब टेक्नोलॉजी में आप देखो जब भी हमारा जो भी कंपनी इधर है जो हमारा कंट्री में लिस्ट हुआ है ऐसा कंपनी है ही नहीं है. सब हमारा कंपनी में जो कंपनीज है वो टेक्नोलॉजी यूज करता है, लेकिन वो टेक्नोलॉजी क्रिएट नहीं करने वाले कंपनीज दूसरे देशों में लिस्ट किया हुआ है. लेकिन सो वो कंपनीज में हमको इन्वेस्ट करना है तो हमको इंडिया से बाहर जाके इन्वेस्ट करना है. इंडिया से बाहर लेके जाने के लिए हमारे पास हम ओनली LRS इज द ओनली रूट जो हम पैसा लेके जाके इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. लेकिन हम जो डायरेक्टली शेयर्स खरीद सकते हैं बट लेकिन हमको मैनेज्ड फंड्स है जो कुछ फंड्स चाहिए ये वो हमारे लिए इधर गिफ्ट सिटी के रूट में अवेलेबल है. So main thing all of us will face one problem because last few years in India we have seen superb returns, double digits returns. Some of the funds may even have given the triple digit returns also in the last 1 or 2 years में. वो सब में हम देख के हमको बाहर मार्केट में भी हमको वही रिटर्न्स मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा वो क्वेश्चंस आते रहता है. तो इसलिए ये हम आपको दिखा रहा है MSCI एक्वी ACWI का परफॉर्मेंस. ACWI स्टैंड्स फॉर ऑल कंट्री वर्ल्ड इंडेक्स. जो MSCI है मॉर्गन स्टैनली वाला कंपनी है. दिस प्रोवाइड्स दिस बेंचमार्क सर्विसेज जैसा हमारा क्राइसिल है, NSE का वो निफ्टी है, ऐसा ही MSCI has given us this ACWI index, all country world index. It's a global index है. This comprises of 2,500 odd stocks across about 85-86 countries. तो पूरा का ग्लोबल है. सो हमने एक ग्लोबल फंड बनाया है इसलिए हमने एक ग्लोबल इंडेक्स के साथ इवेल्युएट कर रहे हैं. जो ग्लोबल इंडेक्स ने लास्ट 10-20-30 साल में क्या परफॉर्मेंस दिया है, दिस अगेन एट द ग्लोबल मार्केट लेवल इज इन द रेंज ऑफ 9 to 10%. हम अभी देखेंगे हमारा निफ्टी और सेंसेक्स क्या दिया रिटर्न्स दिया गया है. सो वो भी अभी 12-13% के आसपास रिटर्न दिया गया है इफ यू टेक द सेम लॉन्ग टर्म रिटर्न्स ऑफ निफ्टी और सेंसेक्स. So there is a difference of 3 to 4%, but that is again the 30 to 40% returns what we talk about is in rupee terms. But whereas this one what we talk about in MSCI का returns is in dollar terms. When हमारा market का returns भी हम dollar returns में convert करेंगे तो वो भी 9 to 10% ही आएगा. That means when we are investing into that some specific markets even outside India in a global market, हमार इंडिया रिटर्न्स एंड जो बाहर का मार्केट का रिटर्न्स इज ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर. तो उसके हिसाब से बाय इन्वेस्टिंग इन ग्लोबल मार्केट्स वी आर नॉट लूजिंग आउट ऑन द रिटर्न्स बट इन फैक्ट we are getting a better risk adjusted return opportunity in global markets. So we have created a fund called ABSL Global Blue Chip Equity Fund here in Gift City. It is also a category 3 AIF, but it is in a closed-ended nature. So closed-ended a 4 years का term है, and this fund invest into a global market through a fund which is set up in Cayman Island. So it's called Liptus Capital Fund in Cayman Island. The 4-year term starts from April 2025 है जब से हमने फर्स्ट क्लोजिंग किया था. अभी हम फाइनल क्लोजिंग करते फरवरी हो जाएगा और भी 5-6 महीने हम फंड रेज करेंगे. उसके बाद फंड विल बी क्लोज फॉर सब्सक्रिप्शन and the fund will mature in April 2029. अब मेरा पास अभी 3.5 years का term बाकी है for the investor to invest and stay here. So either what is the investment strategy which we are adopting here? So हम when we are investing into global market, हमको वो I told you global index में 2,500 stocks के and which comprise of all countries. हमको पूरा उतना diversified portfolio नहीं बनाना है, लेकिन जो ग्लोबल कंपनीज है रियल ग्लोबल कंपनीज है जो टॉप ऑफ द काइंड ऑफ ग्लोबल कंपनीज है उसी में इन्वेस्ट करना है. सो वी आर गोइंग टू select only and invest only about 25 to 30 global companies which is of high quality and as well as high growth. तो हम क्वालिटी और ग्रोथ को कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं? सो क्वालिटी वी डिफाइन इट फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ दैट ईच ऑफ द कंपनी शुड बी a cash rich company. That means it should be generating cash profits, and उसका free cash flow margins है, it should be in the range of 18 to 20%. Second है हम वो companies जो capital allocation किया गया है companies into various business verticals or subsidiaries, वो सबका भी return on invested capital should also be in the range of 18 to 20%. So we only look at if there is a good returns coming in and a high margins are available. Third, that हमने growth, we are looking at a growth whether the company का जो earnings है वो year after year compounding at 10% in dollar terms, because that is again, if the company can grow its margins and profits or earnings year after year at 10% plus, that really helps in creating good wealth for a long term period. So third, हमने qualitative wise हम देखते हैं कि to ensure that this growth or this things are margins and earnings growth sustain, उसी के लिए then there should be a barrier to entry, the competition कम होना चाहिए. So that we see that we should invest in a best in class companies. It should be technology wise best होगा, या process wise best होगा, या logistics wise best होगा, manufacturing setup best होगा, या barriers to entry हो सकता है, या big brands हो सकता है. So to share few the names of few companies, and if you see that each of these companies have a very dominant market share in their businesses, anywhere between 40 to 90%. So that means a company का जो marketing expenditures होगा या advertisement budget होगा, that might be a market capitalization of a second company. Because so it would not be so easy for these companies to for any company to come to today and change the entire industry dynamics. So these companies will continue to maintain their leads, maintain their margins, maintain their businesses. Again, it also helps them. For example, if there is an increase in cost, they can pass on the cost to the end user without having any fear of they may lose the business, because there is no second line. There is no any other dominant market player in that business. You can tell boss, I can take over the business. ऐसा है नहीं. So hence this kind of a strategy really helps us in a big way. And even free cash flow margin को भी हमने देखा है. Amazon kind of company which was an e-com company. पहले वही एक ही था. अभी there are many Me Too players. Many e-com players are there, but still Amazon is leading in the business and in terms of profit margin and as well as growth, is because whatever the free cash flow margin which they have generated, they have invested that money into another business, into the cloud service businesses. So the जो cloud service business में जो invest किया तो वो free cash flow margin, today that Amazon that cloud service is also has become such a vast business. And today that earnings of that company is helping that Amazon to overall maintain their profitability and margins. Hence, this return on capital, invested capital or free cash flow margins helps these businesses to look out for opportunities and continue grow their business and size year after year. So these are the few stats of that fund. हमने बोला था कि we invest into the company जिसका EPS growth should be at least 10% year after year. हमारा जो पोर्टफोलियो कंपनीज का जो EPS कैगर है is in the range of about 18 to 20%. हमने बोला था हमारा जो return on invested capital would be around 18 to 20%. Here it's about 33%. Free cash flow margin should be in the range of 18 to 20%. Here हमारा portfolio का free cash flow margin is about 20%. So market is also is it expensive? Global market काफी लोग बोल रहे हैं कि it's too expensive, we should invest or we should not invest. So either this left side chart tells that it is neither expensive nor cheap. So Acme का जो green bar है, it talks about PE, whereas red dot talks about EPS CAGR, that's earnings. But if you look at compared to the other indexes or other markets, Acme का जो है, it is neck to neck. So both PE as well as earnings growth are hand in hand. That means it is neither expensive nor cheap, and it is placed better than other indexes. And it is a good continue to be a good opportunity to invest in this market here. So हमने portfolio construction में when we are investing into global companies कैसे build कर रहा है. So if you look at that, हमने more of we are looking at technology as our large investments, technology, communications, and then consumption is that another one, and industrials, and then we look at some amount of finance and healthcare. So broadly हम जो industry है which is which may not get impacted drastically with your tariffs, बिकॉज वो कमोडिटी में है नहीं है. इफ यू लुक एट दिस पोर्टफोलियो में कुछ चीजें हमको नजर नहीं आएगा. तो two things that what I told is that we'll invest in only those high margin companies, but what we will also not do it, हम इधर explain करते हैं. So we will not do if invest into any leveraged companies or high debt equity companies. Number two, we will not invest into the mid and small cap space here. We will invest into the large caps. The third, we will not do invest into cyclical companies. Cyclical companies are like your automobile, real estate, banks, infrastructure. So all this kind of business में हम invest नहीं करते हैं. So we focus more on technology because the technology continues to drive irrespective of things. And these are all core technology, not just as a technology users है. They are all core technology companies. उसके अलावा कल कुछ भी नहीं होगा. So we are all knows that वो कोविड के बाद में जो चिपसेट का प्रॉब्लम हुआ, so how it is impacted most of these automobile companies also. Like this is very important. So we continue to focus on semiconductors and related businesses, software and related businesses. Finance में आप देख लो, हमने we are not investing into banks. जो banks might continue to offer a good growth, but in the meantime it also comes with a higher risk in terms of interest rate risk or credit risk. So some of these companies provide me that the similar growth, similar opportunities without any risk, because we saw कुछ भी जो each of us swipe our card, whether a debit card or credit card, they make their returns. S&P Global, wherever that we use their benchmarks and other things, so data, so we pay them royalties. So they make their gains, they're continuously growing. Gallagher is one of them in insurance broking worldwide. They have presence in more than 35 countries. So like that, the people who are more into and services in the financial side, not into the core finance, and hence we look at them. Next opportunity, what we look at is consumption story, where people wants to spend money, where people are looking an opportunity to grow. So for example, LVMH, one of the leading leather goods manufacturer है, worldwide उसका network है, उसका home country में they only sell 5%, 95% gets sold outside of their home country. And again, Netflix, Meta is today is one among the largest advertisement platform hai, messaging or other platforms. It's more like access and advertising. Netflix entertainment में है, Hilton, your hotel, every country में उसका presence है. So Amazon we already spoke about. Again, on the healthcare side, we are not focusing on pharmaceuticals, because pharmaceuticals may, again, there is a lots of pressure in terms of pricing. Instead of, we want to focus on other healthcare value chain companies, which is into medical technology. So that is where we see that there's not much of competition, and hence very important and high margin businesses. And the last is that industrialist, because this is very, again, have a edge over some of the other businesses. They are quite unique in terms of technology or manufacturing facilities or something like logistics and supply chain, which cannot be easily followed or replicated by anyone else. For example, we know that Rolls-Royce, Safran, and all these things, they manufacture aircraft engines. Safran manufactures all the aircraft engine for your defense aircrafts, Rolls-Royce for that, all the passenger aircrafts. Linde is the largest industrial gas manufacturing companies, have a global presence. There is no near competition. There is no second one for this. And hence this kind of a portfolio helps us to consistently provide returns to the investors. And we also have multiple exposures to almost 8 to 10 countries, selected very few companies, about 25 to 30 companies. Currently 30 companies are part of this portfolio. And yes, so the returns have been phenomenal, but however, it's a very short-term returns. The fund has been in existence only since April 2025. But I would request you to look at that, not just the fund's performance, but more of the fund's outperformance against the benchmark, because this is which we would like to commit to, that we will try to bring in alpha to you, we'll bring in an outperformance against the benchmark during your investments in this fund. Again, from a taxation perspective, this is for, again, global fund. The Indian investors, both Indian individuals as well as companies can invest. Individuals can invest through their LRS limits up to $250,000. But whereas corporates के लिए अलग ही limit है. Any corporates, that means LLPs हो, partnership firms हो, private limited या limited companies हो, they can invest into this global market up to 50% of their net worth. It's pretty high, right? If a company has got 100 crore net worth, then they can invest up to 50 crores into this global markets. So, and these kind of an unlisted companies cannot invest into global market directly. RBI का permission ही नहीं है. लेकिन ये GIFT City के route, they can invest into global markets without any permissions under automatic investment route. So taxation क्या है? So इंडिया में इंडियन इन्वेस्टर्स को टैक्स एग्जम्पशन नहीं है. हम कहीं भी इनकम अर्न करें, हमको इंडिया में टैक्स पे करना ही है. सो इधर भी हम ग्लोबल कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करके, ग्लोबल फंड में इन्वेस्ट करके, वॉट एवर द रिटर्न्स वी अर्न, वी आर सब्जेक्ट टू टैक्स हियर. सो हियर कैटेगरी 3 फंड में फंड लेवल का टैक्सेशन है. दैट मीन्स फंड हैज टू पे द टैक्स ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स. एंड हेंस हियर all the investors के लिए, since we are investing more than 2 years, it will be only long-term capital gain tax is applicable. So that means that a tax would be paid at the rate of 12.5% plus surcharge and cess, and rest of the gains is passed on to the investors, and it is already tax paid income. So hence investor need not pay any tax on the funds received in their hands. But however, for NRIs and foreign investors, they are not liable to pay tax in India, and hence they are exempted here. So they have to pay the tax, if any, in their home country. So that means आपको जो NRIs को भी अभी ग्लोबल मार्केट के थ्रू, ग्लोबल मार्केट को इंडिया के थ्रू इन्वेस्ट करने का ये अपॉर्चुनिटी है. So this broadly is about the opportunity what Indians have to invest in global market. There's also a broadly an opportunity what global investors have to invest in India. So and we also spoke a little bit about GIFT City. So over to you, Akanksha. So we may take some questions. I think we had some people raising their hands. So next few minutes we can spend some time on that.
Correct, Mr. Sudhir. I'll just start with a couple of questions, and also team, please feel free to drop in your questions. We'll take it as we go along. Sudhir, if you had to pick up one asset class in GIFT City to back strongly over the next 5 years, what would it be?
See, today GIFT City के through India में invest करने के लिए all types of funds are available. But however,
Right.
क्या है historically क्या है? Most of the people used to raise money from institutional investors and bring it to India and do the investment here. So and again, the retail side of funds are getting set up now. So for the global investor to invest in India, we have all the types. We have credit opportunities funds are there, right? Debt funds are there, real estate funds are there, as well as equity and private equity. So you name it, it is available. And we have seen each of this category has its own pros, right? It has gone its own. It is all these categories are doing well in its own form. Today, if you see private credit funds or private structured corporate funds, what we can call it as structured funds, they all have been given in the range of returns in the range of 14-15%. Real estate funds are also giving the returns in the similar range. Equities have been phenomenal, right? And private equities के लिए India में today it is a festival running in, right? So every day there is and every month we could see some new unicorns in India. So investment opportunity is definitely we have to look at from the perspective of investors' requirement, but availability of there. But only thing is that as of now, the fundraising is historically the fundraising was more from a perspective of institutional investors, selective investors who used to come and invest into India. I'm not too sure that more do we have an funds for the retail investor to invest in each of this category. But however, we have started with equities to sure. So gradually we may see some funds getting set up to provide an investment opportunity in debt and real estate and other stuff are also for the retail investors.
And what would be the minimum investment value?
So currently in a category 3 funds, $150,000 is the minimum investments. But however, some of the funds would be keeping, who was raising money from institutional investors might keep much higher. But whereas we all are keeping it, restricting it to that minimum investment of $150,000. Going forward, we may see some retail investment opportunities also. So that is like we can launch a funds in like a mutual fund scheme. So there we can onboard clients even with $5,000, $10,000 also. So as of now, most of the funds are all raising the funds with a minimum investment of $150,000.
Okay. And there was a regulation this year's start when there has been a slicing of the minimum investment amount to $75,000. That's under what circumstance?
It is only in PMS,
Okay.
portfolio management services only.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's one question by Suniti, which is particularly to the fund we were discussing towards the end. What's the tax rate for the individual under Global Blue Chip Equity Fund? If you can please repeat it.
Yeah, for individual Indian investors, it is 12.5% is the tax which would be applicable for investors. However, for NRIs, no tax is applicable in India.
Is there a risk of liquidity in investing and trading in GIFT City?
It depends on the instruments again. So, for example, in our FlexiCap fund, which we are providing as a feeder fund to invest into India, there is no liquidity issues. Every day, it's a daily NAV fund. So, any day you liquidate in about 3 to 4 days of time, you will receive your money in your bank account. Whereas in a global fund, it's a monthly NAV, and again, it's a closed-ended fund. There would not be a liquidity would not be available. So, the liquidity is basis the structure of the fund. Not as an instrument as such.
Thank you for that. Next question would be, while GIFT City shows strong promise, what are the major risk or unknown factors that investors should keep in mind, if any?
I don't see that today any risk from a
Hmm.
regulatory perspective or a sovereignty perspective. Yes, it was there maybe few years back, 2 years back, 3 years back. People were looking at is this this GIFT City is going to continue? If Modi doesn't come back to power, will it still continue? Will it get reversed and all that? But today, this place has built up, has come up to a stage that it is on its own. It is an autonomous body, and so the IFSCA, which develops and regulates this, is a entity which is set up under the Parliament Act. So it is not an appointed by someone, some government or something. So and hence it has got the similar stance like a SEBI or RBI. If you are confident of investing your money, hard-earned money, into Indian bank, so then you should not be worried to invest into a fund structured in IFSC.
Correct. Also, so this is pertaining to my very first question that we were discussing about what opportunities look interesting in GIFT City. Similarly, where do you see GIFT City in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of market depth, innovation, and global relevance?
So I think it's going to become a very integral part of Indian growth story in next 5 to 10. It's just an early stage. We have seen it's been just maybe about 5 years since IFSC is operational, and we have seen that about 800, 900 plus companies from all sorts of financial service business are setting up their business here. You name the companies, and you name, and every MNC is looking to set up the business. As I told, almost all MNC banks from all countries have their presence in GIFT IFSC today. They want to do business with India. They want to do business with Indians in India itself through GIFT City. So I think as we are going to grow, our international business is going to grow much stronger. You could see that the number of aircrafts which we are buying 10 years back and what we are placing order every year now has gone a tremendous change. So we used to only lease, the number of ships which our people used to lease. Today, our people are owning ports, right? So to the kind of significant changes which is happening in the businesses and leading to people who wants to raise money in dollars. There's a significant amount of international trade happening between our country and from our manufacturers, with various other countries. So these are all going to be rooted through GIFT City, and that's what I'm telling, that it is going to become an integral part of our India growth story in next 10 years. So if we have to, and that is what is the vision of the Prime Minister and all the people who are ensuring that facilitating and making those changes in the regulation to support this in this journey. And I think in next years we would see more and more participation from not just in Indian entities, but from the global institutions also to come to GIFT City and set up their business and do the business with Indians from GIFT City itself.
Right. Mr. Sudhir, actually, I have one question wherein one of the attendees, a senior person, Mr. Bajaj, wanted to understand who is exactly the target audience of GIFT City. However, he has particularly mentioned that it is for NRE NROs. However, we see that it is equally logical for your outbound investments as well. If you can throw some light on it again.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a fund global financial service center, right? So when it's a financial service center, you can have both sides of transactions happening. It is
Correct.
not a one-way route. So
Yeah.
hence, Indians can invest into global markets through the GIFT City route, and global investors will come into India through the GIFT City route. So it's more of convenient transactions, which is enabled here for both types of investors, because both leg of investments has to happen in foreign currency, and India, GIFT City is the only place where you can do those transactions in foreign currency.
Outside India
Yes,
conveniently.
yes.
Also, as per the discussion, as taxation in India will be nil for NRIs, and taxation will be only applicable in the country where NRI is based. This is only possible in NRE repatriable accounts, or NRO is basically then ruled out and cannot
See,
take the
yeah,
proceeds.
see, the gains are benefiting. The taxes on the gains arised on the investments.
Hmm.
So the source of investment can be NRE and NRO both. However,
Okay.
NRE accounts has got 100% repatriation,
Repatriation.
whereas NRO account has a repatriation which is restricted to $1 million per annum per year. Investors can invest into this global funds or a India fund through the NRO account also up to $1 million.
Okay. Team, if we have any other questions with respect to FNO or anything, then please drop in your queries. So I think we have couple of questions which are, I think, from the discussion itself, that what is the difference between GIFT City and direct LRS? I think we have covered that bit. So
Yeah, see, direct LRS is basically available for individual investors, including minors, have got a LRS limits. That's a way of you convert your rupee funds to dollar or any foreign currency, and from there you have an option to invest in foreign markets directly, or in a foreign securities if anything is available in GIFT City also, or any funds outside India, in foreign countries. You have multiple options to do that. Okay. So, but only thing is that today, how many investors can do that? How many investors can go reach out to an US mutual fund and make an investment there? How many
yeah.
funds can select a fund in Europe? Because today, in India itself, most of we are all suffering from choices, right? So we have to
Mhm.
consult an advisors like you to select to a right fund for me. So just now tell me, if you have to go and do a search for a fund in global market, how easy it is going to be. Even if it has to be if it has to be a stock. I'll give an example. In Jan, Feb, March, two stocks were continuously falling with wide margin. So one is that Nvidia, and second thing is your Tesla. So both had shares have gone up substantially. Both had created amazing wealth. Both are superb companies. But again, their share prices were falling. They had all fallen by 30-40%. Both were looking very attractive. So how does that investor know which company to buy, which company to hold, which company to sell at that point of time?
Mhm. Right.
For us, when we are looking at from India, both are superb companies. So that is what is today is a challenge for Indian investors. And hence the funds which we are setting up in a GIFT City provides a solution. So it's again managed funds vis-a-vis the direct stocks, right? Which is the same questions which we keep listening to in India also. So this managed today, a GIFT City fund provides a more convenient opportunity for Indian investors to invest in global markets. Easy to reach out to, easy to talk to someone, and you have that entire now. When we have a fund here in GIFT City, that entire advisors can access these funds. Earlier, how many advisors were able to advise their Indian investors about global funds? No, there was no. So maybe a handful, maybe 5-10 people. But now today, almost all the advisors in India can associate with GIFT City fund managers and advise their investors through the GIFT City funds to invest in global markets. Tomorrow, any challenges, they can reach out to these fund managers and ask for, tell me what is happening and why it is happening. So the fund manager will give them a brief, will give them an understanding, right? So this is, which was completely missing. I think now this Gift City ecosystem has helped us to create that ecosystem here, create our own funds to invest in global markets within our India boundary, and help all our not advisors as well as investors to explore this investment opportunity.
Right. In fact, the next question is a slightly longer one. Few years back, India's market regulator found a dozen offshore funds investing in India were in a violation of disclosure rules and in breach of investment. And also, there was news that offshore funds rerouting Indian money back to India is falsely infusing stock rates. My question is, what are the compliances to mitigate these things going forward?
Yeah, see, if you look at one of those, in my the slides, the target investors which I mentioned for India FlexiCap Fund, which invest back to India, is that I'll only accept money from NRIs and foreign investors. So there is no question of Indian investors onboarding into this fund, which again invest into India back, right? So resident Indians can invest only in global funds which invest outside India. And again, we have a restriction of, if that fund is can be investing in India up to 49%. So up to 49% of investment into India is not treated as a round tripping. So and up to that it's fine. So that is one, again, from a global fund perspective. So I mentioned that we are global funds. As of now, none of the Indian stocks are qualifying in those, as per our screeners. Assuming that there is an HDFC Bank or TCS or Kotak or something qualifies. But if it is forms 5 to 10% of my portfolio and Indian investor, it is not amounts to round tripping, because the limit has been increased and it has been about 49%. There is a CBDT circular available to that extent, and we are in completely compliance of that. And with respect to the other fund, that is ABSL ABSL India FlexiCap Fund, where 100% of the money is getting invested into India, we are not onboarding any resident Indians. Even if you have to onboard any foreign companies, so we do check for their UBOs, and the place of effective management of those companies should not be India. So it should not be treated as an Indian company. And so we do those evaluations before onboarding the investor, so that we are completely in compliance with those regulations, and have the sufficient process to ensure that we don't deviate from that.
The next question is that NRIs can invest through dollar. No, I guess it is up to the fund management in general. It is a dollar dominance, but still NRIs can invest in different countries.
Yes, NRIs can invest in dollars. NRIs can, again, redemption would be happening in dollar. So as of now, it is all single currency funds. So we don't have multi-currency funds here in Gift City. So any investor investing from different countries has to convert and invest in dollars only. But yes, since we are
This
not
is at the time of de-dollarization.
Yes. So, but again, the de-dollarization is a long-term story, though it has been there in media almost every day. But the process is not going to be happening immediately, because today dollar in terms of transactions, in terms of I think it has been very deeply engraved, right? Today all your commodities are priced in dollars. So it's a global trading. In any exchange, it's your gold to steel, everything is pegged to dollars, right? Oil, everything is pegged to dollars. So dollar de-dollarization is a I don't think so that are we next few years or 5 years or 10 years it is going to happen. But yes, people would try and find their own trading partners and work with way out. But however, I think the way it has been already included, I don't think so that we will see any drastic changes in that in the system. And it is today also, it is in terms of liquidity for any currency to dollar to any currency, it's the only easier one available. So since we are going to be marketing not this company across, not specifically marketing only in Euro or only in Asia or something like that. So we look at this funds denominating in dollar, so that it's easy for the investors across the globe to invest into India through this route.
Okay. And the next question again is probably a little concerned attendee. Are there measures to detect fake shell companies or layered corporate structures used to disguise as ownership? How does the government ensure GIFT City's tax benefits aren't used for aggressive tax avoidance schemes?
So see, here today they are not given us any different tax benefits as such. This is not be projected as a tax haven or something like that. So here it is all well-regulated structures. We adhere to those taxation rules. So if a same AIF fund is investing into direct stocks, and every time they sell, they are liable to tax at the rate of 12.5% and 20% for the long-term, short-term capital gains there. So only certain structures, mutual funds are exempted from those structures. And again, there if it has to be an 100% NRI and only through the GIFT City. So it is not a tax haven. And again, we all have to do an sufficient we are responsible actually to onboard the customers, and so that at the time of onboarding the investors, we have to do all those due diligence in terms of understanding the UPO of the company and all that. So I think they have been very categorically mentioned that they would want to regulate the fund managers and not the funds. Okay, so that means they have put lots of responsibility on our shoulders to ensure that whatever the funds we bring in are from the right sources and in a through a proper channel. So they are not telling that okay, so anyone can come and invest in any way. No, it doesn't happen like that. So all those investors, we have to do the proper KYC and do the proper due diligence before we onboard. So investors can be rest assured. Definitely, this is and IFSCI is taking very caution as to ensure that there should no investor should feel that he's coming to a tax haven like the way when people used to invest in Mauritius or Cayman Island.
Right.
They should used to get the feeling, right, that something it is something like that. But here, I think you can be rest assured that we are under the very tight structures. Yes, they are accommodative, they are cooperative, they understands the business, they want to build a international level business, international globally benchmarked financial hub, but not as a tax haven. And there is enough checks and balances has been put, and we are responsible here. So when the way we are the fund managers, we are sitting here, we have been made responsible to ensure that we follow those regulations laid by under the PMLA, AML, and KYC policies.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sudhir, for that one. Due to the paucity of time, I'll be taking one last question. As you have mentioned, an individual investor can invest globally. My question is, an Indian resident having his funds in US transferred in bank outside India, can he invest in any of the funds raised in GIFT City?
Yes, he can, but not the inbound fund. But yes, into any other global funds, he can invest.
And what would be that route? Is there
It's any fund, any category 3 funds or a category 2 funds or a AF structure or sorry, the retail funds which are set up in funds, because see the investors tax residency is India, but the funds is already available outside of India.
Correct.
Right? So suppose an NRI who has the funds outside India, now he's become a resident Indian, right? In such case that his taxed residency is Indian, but he already have a funds in US dollars or euro, which he doesn't want to bring it down. So he can invest that. He can invest into our GIFT City fund. But yes, as a he is liable to pay tax in India for all this, what are the income which is earned. But he doesn't need to convert into INR. He can invest in dollar terms only into our fund in dollar term, into our global funds, and on the income and redemption also again he takes it back into the global market. And again, one more opportunity is that so all these resident Indians now can open foreign currency accounts in GIFT City. So earlier, an resident Indian, if he has to open a foreign currency account, he has to go outside of India, like to Dubai or Singapore or something like that, and open an account there. But now all of you, like you and me, each one of us can open a foreign currency account in GIFT City itself. And again, the NRIs were not allowed to open a foreign currency account in India. They could have done the foreign currency deposits. FCNR deposits were allowed. Otherwise, NRE or NRO accounts were allowed, where it was to be in rupee terms. But now in GIFT City, you can open a foreign currency accounts, non-resident accounts also. So where you could open an account in dollar terms or a euro, in whichever the currency you want. It's about 11 or 12 currencies they are allowing. They are allowing now. So you can open any accounts there and hold that funds, and also make those dollar deposits and all. Because in NRIs who are investing into India, into FCNL deposits in India, the rates they have to keep for at least, I think, 1 year term. So there was no short-term FCNL deposits are not available. In GIFT City, that you have short-term deposits also, starting from 15 days to 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. You can make deposits for any duration, and in about 8 or 10 currencies. So that way it is both NRIs and resident Indians. It's a quite flexible opportunities available to invest and hold cash also.
I think the product offering is broadening to make sure that there is no concern when this investment happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's just one follow-up question that because we discussed ki LRS mates $250,000 and remittance more than that can't happen. Is there any threshold for Indian investor investing in global markets via GIFT City?
No, there is no limit. So it's only if you already have the money, you can invest any amount. It's only
Correct.
for the conversion. There is a limit of per person per year.
Okay.
But investment ke liye there's no limit. Because if you already have taken the money out, so you
Hmm.
can always make investments much more than that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sudhir. And with that, we will wrap up the session here. And thank you for a very interesting and insightful session. Always a pleasure listening to you. And thank you, all the attendees. Street Experts will be back with more such interesting discussions. In case any questions remain unanswered, which I saw there are a couple of those, so do reach out to us through your respective RMs or through our website, www.mastertrust.co.in. With that, we would like to conclude this webcast. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you all, and thank you Master Capital Group and as well as Akanksha for providing this opportunity. And have a great day to you all.